After 100 plus miles, the Asics Magic Speed has piqued my interest in some places and also has a few concerns for me. Let's talk about them. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed to this channel watching the content, thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. I'm going to leave the specs right here. And I guess I'll give you the overall impression I had of this shoe when I started with it. And I'll show you guys obviously the outsoles and what the bottoms of the shoes are looking like. So yeah, overall, again, when I bought this shoe, it was meant to be a replacement, or like a slightly price-wise cheaper replacement to the Nike Zoom Fly 4, which I had retired at this point in time because, you know, the shoe is just at 400 plus miles. I don't have any grip or grab on the ground, and it's effectively slipping, and I just am hitting a dead spot on that shoe. So I wanted to experiment with other step-down models of racing shoes in their respective families that have a carbon plate, either running the full length or in this case a half length duration of the shoe. So the Asics Magic Speed was that choice. I did a couple of runs in it and I liked it. But now we're 100 plus miles in, and obviously got some things I want to talk about. So first things first, let's check out said bottoms of the shoes at 100 plus miles. That's our left foot, that's our right foot. If you want the heels for both, here they are. And I guess we'll pick it up with the left foot. I mean, the left foot's pretty okay actually, not too much to report on. There isn't any sort of heel wear or anything like that. The only real damage I saw on this shoe earlier, I think, is just in our the eye holes here for the shoes. Whenever I'm tying them, because this upper is so tough and it's so rigid, the friction of the shoelace running against the upper is actually causing it to rip in places, and this isn't uncommon in a lot of other shoes I have. It's something I'm noticing a little bit more in the Magic Speed based on just the material that's kind of being used. Also, same thing on the other side right there, so nothing unusual, I guess, to say there. On our right foot, this is where all of the problems begin. It's always the right foot in my case, right? So in this particular case, you can see, obviously, we do have a little bit of burn right where I suspected it would be. That's kind of on this outer, you know, supinated side of the shoe. As I run, I do kind of hit that area. That's my sweet spot, more or less. And then this toe area here is also kind of burnt a little bit from probably hitting and then having that lift off of that push if you're running on loose gravel or some, you know, other debris is kind of hitting that area. The piece that has me concerned, there's actually two. One, I know kind of what's going on with it. The other, not 100% sure, and it might be a feature of the upper itself that is still to be determined. I think I've said this in a previous video. This upper is really tough, and it's a good thing in, I would say, maybe this forefoot area where it's not going to rip if your toes kind of fly out of the area, and it is a little bit kind of compact in places, so your feet are going to be they're going to be locked down real well if you want them to be so. But the major issue I'm having here is in this heel area with the Magic Speed, and mostly, yeah, it is very tough, as you can tell. You can really just like be malleable with it if you want, but the major issues with it is when I'm beginning my stretches in this shoe and I have it tied down real well and I start doing like some calf stretches, there's some sort of friction that's occurring in the heel and basically my Achilles heel, like I guess like actual true heel area of the shoe, where it feels like there's a bit of like a nervy kind of pull in the shoe. And I wonder if it's because there's some kind of tension between my foot being stuck up here and then something at the bottom of the shoe, where it's very hard to describe, but long story short, it's just like it's this kind of like balling, nerving kind of sensation, as if I'm like tearing something in my heel that's effectively kind of come back to my peroneal tendon. And it's just sort of some issue that I'm watching that might be a case of stiffness in the shoe. Now, once you start running and you're like maybe a half a mile in, that sensation goes away. But this is the first time I've experienced it in any sort of shoe, and the Magic Speed is the anomaly in this case, that where it's happening the most. And I saw it really early on in like March and April, and also in May as well. But actually, no, it didn't happen in March. I didn't have this shoe in March. Must have been like late April, early May when I started first experiencing that sensation. And then rolling into June, it happens in almost all of my shoes. So whatever started in the Magic Speed has now kind of rolled over to all of them. And I'm basically just using like a Theragun and just like really massaging the Achilles to like superior side, the supinated side. Is it posterior? No, it's the posterior side of my heel area to effectively kind of get the sensation out, because it does feel very awkward and it almost feels like there's like a bump or a bruise kind of developing as a result of doing calf stretches in this shoe. And it's something to be with this upper and the way the shoe just locks really well. So my suggestion and workaround for that currently has been to stretch in other shoes where the sensation is a little bit less, and then try to tie yourself into this shoe and begin your dynamic stretching. So that's really the big thing I wanted to address in terms of just sitting in the shoe. So if you've experienced some kind of situation like that in any of your heel areas, comment down below if it happened at all with the Magic Speed or like some sort of Asics equivalent. I kind of want to know if this is just a me problem or this is something everyone's experiencing. The other issue I have here is that the heel foam area, it's kind of hard to see maybe here, it's kind of coming off a little bit. And that's probably because of when I'm taking off my shoes, and instead of just like loosening them and taking them off like a normal human being, I'll sometimes use my left foot to kind of like hold the shoe down and kind of yank my foot out. It's not a good idea. I did that in my Pegasus Turbo 2s, and I ripped the heel area effectively in that pair of shoes. So other than that, the ride is still pretty good. It's quite stiff as of right now. I still need to put in a few more miles, I think, to really kind of break this shoe down. I expected it to be stiff in the first place because this Flight Foam Blast is, you know, it's a tougher foam overall, and it just needs a little bit of a break in order to get the experience you want out of this shoe. It's not a very soft foam. That's all it really comes down to. And there is a good rebound effect from the carbon plate when I'm running with it and experiencing it. It just, again, it needs a little bit more break for that sensation to come back, where it's going to be something like maybe, you know, the Asics Metaspeed Sky or like the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, where you get that impact really done kind of well and you start experiencing in that sense. So I think I'm going to leave the video here as to my current thoughts at 100+ miles. Again, so far so good, minus the little things in the heel that I'm experiencing. Still going to push it to about 200+ miles. See how the grip holds out with this outsole, upper, or bottoms build for the shoe. And yeah, we're just going to keep on going from there. I'm going to keep this one short because there isn't too many new updates I've had with it since I've been using it. So if you agree with any of the assessments or disagree or have a different experience with this shoe at this current time, comment it down below. Let's talk about it. So I will end the video here though. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.